Hey everybody, welcome back to the Friday Night Prepper pre-party show. I hope you all are having a good Friday so far. We have a lot to talk about tonight, and I really want to try to get through this kind of quickly. I have to get up super early tomorrow to handle some personal business, but we'll stay as long as we have to get through this topic because there's some important stuff going on. Before we get going, let me kind of tell you what we're going to do tonight. Tonight we're going to recap what's happened so far with this Iran conflict, look at where it's currently standing, and talk about where it's likely going. I have a few announcements before we get started. Number one, the biases that I bring to this, of course, if you've been with me for a long time, you already know I'm generally against the forever war. I don't think we should be getting involved in conflicts if we don't need to. Maybe we could have a debate about whether or not we needed to here. I don't know. We talked a little bit about this last week. You can go back and review that one. Was their actions justified? I mean, we know that the Houthis, which are funded by Iran, were attacking American ships. Maybe we were justified. You're certainly welcome to disagree with anything I say here. Just we always ask that you be respectful. Don't just say, Sarge, you're stupid, or you're an idiot, or that's a low IQ take, or whatever. Tell me why you disagree with me. Give a good explanation of why you think I'm wrong. We welcome a little bit of debate here, and we welcome other people's opinions. And I've certainly changed my mind many times based on what the audience has said to me. As always, we ask you to anything you post here in comments or in chat, please keep sexism, racism out of this. We don't really, that's not the channel for that. This isn't the channel for that. So if you do post stuff like that, it's generally going to be taken down as soon as we catch it. I may not catch it right away, but when I catch it, it's going to be taken down. So you're not going to get whatever effect you're trying to get. So just leave that out of it. Be intellectual, articulate your point. Let's have a good discussion tonight. Okay. Next week, this is really important. I will not be live. It's the 4th of July. I want you to go enjoy time with your family, go to a barbecue, go watch some fireworks, go do something fun. I will not be live. I will be releasing something. I'm not sure which video I'm going to release yet, but I will have something that launches Friday night. If you don't catch it Friday night, you got all weekend long. Just catch it when you can, okay? There is a VR challenge up. So if you didn't catch Tuesday's video, it is up over in the videos section, the regular long form video section. And there is a challenge in there. Basically, I'm asking for video responses or in the comments. What would you do in that scenario? And it's basically like terrorist attack in a tunnel in the United States. So if you do a video response, make sure you let me know. Just come back to that video, leave me a comment or something because I want to catch it. I'll come to your video, check it out, give you some feedback. And I will also post in my community post section a link to your video so that my viewers can come check out your video. Okay, we've been doing this off and on all spring, and it's working out pretty well, getting those thinky things going so we can all kind of game out some scenarios that may or may not happen and use those brains, that little gray squishy matter between our ears. So check that video out. That is, I think it's called Terror in a Tunnel or Tunnel Kill Box or something like that. Okay. Next announcement is we are rapidly approaching 7,000 subscribers. Welcome to all the new subscribers to the channel. And we will, of course, as I do with my milestones, we will do a giveaway. I will have details coming about that. So make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell turned on. Go right down there, turn on that notification bell right now for all if you haven't, because you don't want to miss this. And then, of course, when I get to 10,000, we'll do a big giveaway. So you definitely don't want to miss that when we get there. But we're moving fast now. We're finally picking up some traction. So thank you and welcome to all the new subscribers. And last thing is, don't forget to check in the description of the video down below for some brands that have helped to support my channel. There's discount codes in there for products that I personally vet as being helpful for your preparedness journey. Things like knives and flashlights and things like that, first aid kits, medications. Of course, we've got something scrolling in there right there for you if you need to get some emergency medications, gas masks, potassium iodide, everything you're going to need for your preparedness journey. Check that out in the description down below. It's one of the little ways that you can help support my channel. All right, let's say hi to chat, and then I'm going to go ahead and get right into this. Got a lot of ground to cover, folks. So let's see. I saw Orlando Prepper here early. I saw Rob B, thank you both for checking in. Prepper for the ages, first one in the chat. Thank you so much. Always good to see you, my friend. Rural 2, I see. It's good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. Utah Mike, thank you. And Kane Corso, thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a good Friday. Sassy Gal Prepping, always good to see you, my friend. Thank you to the moderators, Orlando Prepping and Sassy Gal Prepping, who are here early. And let's see, Burpee Yoga Uncle, it's good to see you. Yeah, brother, we need peace. We need a lot more peace on Earth. Frankly, I'm tired of these forever wars. You know, I'm tired. And why I come at this? People might be wondering. I'm a trauma therapist by trade. I've worked with a lot of people who've got a lot of mental health issues because of the wars that we've gotten involved with, some of which we probably didn't need to, some of which we were probably justified. But I'm tired of seeing people getting banged up physically, mentally, coming home in body bags. I've got family members that are in the service. Tired of the forever wars. That's my stance. You can disagree with me. All right. Mike making too much dough. Let me see. Man in control making too much dough from warm. Yeah, that's it, man. Well, that's not the only reason, but yes, you're right. War is very profitable for certain people. If you are a legislator who is privy to inside information about conflicts, and then you suddenly are investing in companies like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and it just happens to be a couple weeks before we get into this conflict with Iran. Yeah, I view you with a lot of suspicion. I really do. That's what we call a war hawk and a war profiteer. And war is very profitable for those who are in the business of making money off of war. It's one of the biggest money-making schemes on the planet. But let's get back on topic here. Okay, so I'm gonna basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through. I've been taking really good notes, doing a lot of research this week. I wanted to make sure I got this information right for you. So going back to the beginning of the week, basically CNN reporting that bunker busters were used for the first time. Wrong, CNN, wrong. We did use bunker busters in Tora Bora, actually. Now, there may be some differences there's been some upgrades to these bunker busters from what I understand. There's some, like, they can guide them even more specifically to a very specific pinpoint location now. But sorry, CNN, no, you're wrong. This is not the first time we've used bunker buster bombs. What did it accomplish? Don't know yet. We're going to get to that. We're going to dig into that a little bit more as we go. As I was doing my research on these bunker buster bombs, and I'm not going to get into too detailed on this, it is not the biggest bomb, that the non-nuclear bomb that the U.S. has, as far as what we know, because there may be some classified stuff out there, some classified ordnance. As far as what we know, the mother of all bombs is the biggest one, which is 17 times more powerful than the bunker buster. That was not used. And that, to my knowledge, as far as what's known to the public, the mother of all bombs, the Moab is the most powerful non-nuclear bomb that we have. AOC was claiming that the president needed congressional approval to do this. No, AOC, that is not true. I didn't necessarily agree with this Iran strike. I don't think it was necessarily the right move for us, but you're in fact wrong. The president does have the authority to order strikes. They do not need that. They need congressional approval to declare an act of war. But we know that many past presidents have done strikes, including several Democrats. Biden, Obama, and Clinton all did strikes without congressional approval. So at this point, AOC, I got to tell you that I expect you to know these things. You've been in Congress long enough. You're not a first year or sophomore, junior congressperson anymore. You should know this. So you can come on and say, I'm against these strikes. And I would have actually agreed with you in this situation. But no, he does not need congressional approval to order strikes. Sorry. And Iran. So Iran did strike back. They hit one of our bases in Qatar, and they were threatening to do so again, including activating sleeper cells in the United States. Whoa! Who's been telling you? What channel has been telling you for months that we have sleeper cells in the United States? Me. This is the first time we got, and the news confirmed it as well. This is the first time that we actually got confirmation that there are sleeper cells inside the United States. Now we've known this. You and I have been talking about this on my streams for a while. You can go back and watch those live streams. I recommend that you do. Those are some of the most important live streams that I've done in the 5 years that I've been on YouTube. We now have confirmation that there are sleeper cells in the United States. This is a scenario that we as preppers need to be aware of. Well, what can you do? Well, you can carry a first aid kit. If you carry a concealed weapon, you can train. You can be situationally aware. You can activate your alerts on your phone. You can, I'm not going to tell you to avoid large crowds because I think you should live your life. Go enjoy the fireworks. Go enjoy a baseball game. Go enjoy a concert. I think that we have a right to live our lives and not be afraid, but you can still, in those large crowd situations, be situationally aware. The sleeper cell threat is real. We now have confirmation of that, not just from American media sources like mainstream media, which is the first time I've heard them make a confirmation of it, but Iran is actually saying we have sleeper cells in the United States. They acknowledge that and they're threatening to use those. All right, let's check your chat. The Moab is a beast. Yep. Yeah, that's the Moab lands somewhere and it's a bad day for somebody. Military industrial complex. But you like man in control as well. Okay. Yeah, it's man. So if you don't have a family member that's served in combat, or you're not in a role like me where you're sitting down in a room with somebody and talking about and seeing some and hearing some of the things that they've seen, most people probably don't know. And a lot of times people who've gone over there and served don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about some of the horrible things that they've seen. I'm in a position where they do talk to me because that's what we do. We're trying to heal some of the damage that's been done there. There's nothing glamorous about war. It's not like John Wick in the movies. It's not like Rambo. Well, maybe some of the torture scenes and stuff like that, but there's nothing glamorous about war, guys. Nobody wants to see their family member come home with mental trauma, missing limbs, in a body bag. There's nothing good that comes of this. I actually read a post today when I was reading the news that really, really pissed me off, where this person was basically commenting about how the United States should be getting involved in spreading democracy all over the world. I'm like, what? Dude, shut up. Like, shut up. It is not our job to be the world police. Like, really, it is not our job to fix every other country's problems. It really isn't. And I feel strongly about this. You can disagree. That's fine. I think sometimes when we go into these other countries to solve their problems and spread democracy, we're actually creating bigger problems because, yeah, you bombed 100,000 adults, some of which were probably fighters, some of which were probably farmers and nurses and doctors and teachers. And guess what? They all had kids. And if the kids survived, guess what? They're going to grow up to hate America. So we don't necessarily improve the situation by thinking we're going to spread democracy. We make more enemies in many cases. Now, sometimes it has worked, but sometimes it doesn't, not so well. And so that comment just really pissed me off. Like we have an obligation. No, we don't. No, we don't. That's what the United Nations is for. If anything, they can step it up. And that means not just the United States, all of Europe and everybody else who's involved with the United States need to step it up. If that's the plan, if our plan is to spread democracy and fight tyranny, if that's really what's happening and it's not about resources, then the United Nations and Europe and all these other countries that are involved with that, they need to step up more, and a lot more, not a little more, a lot more. I'm getting fired up, y'all. It's going to be an interesting stream. Thank you for sharing that, Orlando Prepper. It's just scrolling down. They thrive. Yeah. Some of it's about control. Some of it's about control. You aren't wrong. You aren't wrong, my friend. There are sleeper cells, probably in a lot more places than we realize. Maybe in every American city. I don't know. Oh, Tuck, concerts are so expensive now. I really would like. Fish is playing here. I love Fish. I'm a huge Fish fan. I really wish that I could have afforded to go see them. That's a whole nother stream, but yeah, I'm worried about that as well. We actually have an active gang war going on in my city here, but that's a whole nother stream. Yeah, you can get Survivor Guild. Thank you, Cold War Prepper. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. I hope you're doing great. You know, and maybe there's some in between there, Uncle. Maybe there's some in between where we don't necessarily have to be isolationists, but we don't have to be necessarily the world police either. Maybe there's some middle ground there. Lazarus Long, I hope you're having a good Friday. Virginia Bushcrafter, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. Scrolling right down. Tammy Harder, thanks for joining us. I hope you're having a good Friday. Thank you so much. All right, cool. Let's keep moving. They've already been threatening to activate their sleeper cells. Yes. UK had arrested I don't know if anybody caught this story. I follow news from all around the world, including Europe. UK had arrested a person who was planning attacks on one of their Air Force bases. I don't know if this was directly related to Iran, but it seemed to happen at a very interesting time. Threatening to close Iran was also threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, which 20% of the global oil passes through there. This would cause, if they had done that, it would have caused a rise in oil prices of 50%. Not only that, though, that 50% rise in oil prices reflects to every other good that comes to market. Your groceries would have went up. Your goods and services, well, maybe not as much. Groceries definitely would have went up because everything is affected by the price of oil. Everything is so they were threatening to basically impact the entire globe because of this. Russian leaders had said earlier in the week, Russian leaders had said that they will help rearm Iran, including with nuclear warheads. I don't know if anybody caught that headline. United States State Department has issued a caution for Americans traveling abroad. Citizens in Tehran were chanting death to America and pledging support for Ayatollah Khomeini. So here's what's interesting. We hear these stories in America about how Khomeini is a dictator, a tyrant, and how the people of Iran want him gone. Yeah, probably some. But there was definitely video footage of thousands of Iranians chanting support and pledging death to America. So it's not everybody. I don't know if we have that true figure of like what percentage of the country is in full support of Khomeini versus wants him gone. Some were definitely calling for regime change as well, and some were outwardly labeling Khomeini a dictator. Iran fired back about 14 to 19 missiles at U.S. base in Qatar, one of our bases, but thankfully it was a pretty limp attack. There was no injuries encountered as far as I could tell. And I think damage was even minimal. Like we basically shot those missiles out of the sky. Interesting because later on they claimed that they slapped the United States around. We'll get to that. So this is all like Sunday and Monday night, y'all. All that stuff was all like Sunday and Monday night. All right, then by Monday night, there was an alleged ceasefire. Of course, those of you probably caught that story, that there was questions as to whether the ceasefire was even going to hold. As of tonight, it's sort of holding, which is good. But, you know, there was some last minute, Israel fired some last minute shots. Iran fired some last minute shots. And there was question of as to whether or not that was going to even hold. You saw Trump's response on live TV, which was a little amusing. And then, well, let me check your chat before I get to the next part. Vanessa Kitty, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great night. Appreciate you. It looks like most of y'all just kind of listening, hanging in. I'll have to check out that book. Let me put it up on there so everybody can see. Let me go back. All right. Burpee Yoga Uncle says in 2012, Peter Zion wrote a book called The Accident. Somebody's saying it's, if I'm reading this right, maybe The Accidental Superpower. He predicted back then that we were going to be an isolationist, so it's not even the president that's doing this. I'm not familiar with that book, but I'll check it out. I'll at least read the summary of it. All right, let's see. So by Monday night, there was reports that Iran might have moved their highly enriched uranium before the strikes. Tuesday AM, Mike Pompeo issued a warning about pro-Iran lone wolves and sleeper cells and cyber attacks. I do know that there was apparently cyber attacks made on our banks, but nothing that was like hugely successful. David Albright, the Institute for Science and International Security, said, "Well, we think they got the uranium away from the Fordo facility." So here's what's interesting. Trump was saying this was a total success. Fordo facility, the uranium enrichment facility was obliterated, and then you have outside experts that were already, I don't know where they were getting this intel from, but already bringing in reasons to justify the next move that is coming. So if we didn't destroy the uranium, and the whole purpose, think about this for a second, slow down. If we didn't hit it, if we didn't destroy their enriched uranium, and the purpose of this was to stop their ability to create weaponized nuclear warheads, we already have reason to go back. You see how this works, folks? We already have a reason to go back and hit them again or do a prolonged conflict, if that's what's going on, right? So you have to think there are people in power that are playing space checkers, and they're 13 moves ahead of the general public, right? We have to be able to like think, what could this translate to down the road? What's a psyop and what's not? So was it a total success or not? I don't know. But supposedly there was leaks coming from within our intel department, DOD, I think. I have to wonder if some of y'all aren't going to like what I'm about to say. I have to wonder if this wasn't Hegseth's people again, because his people have had a history of being very, very leaky. Supposedly they're trying to figure out who did this. I don't know. Kristi Noem said they were going to do polygraph tests. What happened to that plan? If we got people that are leaking information like that, that's a huge national security problem. And they have to figure out who's doing it. It's a huge problem, folks. Because if they're leaking it to the press, who else are they leaking it to? Okay, Trump, and then later on, I think this was Tuesday morning, Trump acknowledged that both Iran and Israel had violated the ceasefire. I think it was more like they did some last minute attacks that probably pushed the boundaries of that ceasefire. And you saw what he said. I'm not going to repeat it. You saw what he said live on the news. New York Times and CNN claim that the intelligence was leaked to them. Sorry. New York Times and CNN claim that intelligence was leaked to them that indicates that Iran was only set back by a few months, and that the underground bunker at Fordo uranium enrichment plant did not collapse. This really pissed off Trump. Wednesday AM, Iranian-backed, allegedly independent hackers were now attacking U.S. banks, defense contractors, and oil companies. My understanding is that none of those cyber attacks were hugely successful. So here we are. It's Friday. The ceasefire seems to be holding. Khamenei is now claiming that they won the exchange, but they're executing anyone who they believe was a possible spy for Israel. So if you won the exchange, then why are you doing that? We'll probably see some type of deal. This is where I think it's going, folks. We're probably going to see some type of deal where Iran gets aid in exchange for agreeing not to enrich uranium to weapons level. But the question I have for you is, can we trust that? They're executing their own people. They're lying about decimating Israel and delivering a big slap to the United States. The Qatar attack did almost nothing. The cyber attacks did almost nothing. So they're lying to their own people. We know that they were funding the Houthis who were attacking U.S. ships. We know that they were funding Hezbollah, which has attacked Israel repeatedly. And here's the kicker. This is the part that I really want people to be aware of, because this hasn't been widespread on the American news yet. Supposedly, Trump is offering to give Iran $30 billion to develop their civil nuclear program. And the Trump-Iran deal would potentially not be paid for with U.S. taxpayer dollars. It would, in theory, be paid for by our allies in the Middle East. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. I am curious, if you're watching this either now or on replay, how you feel about the United States shelling out aid to, whether or not we do it, we're helping to broker the deal, to a country that has funded the Houthis to attack our ships. And I don't know, how does that sit with you? We're paying them to not be bad, but they've lied to their people. They've executed their own people. How do you trust it? In my opinion, what do I know? I'm not the Secretary of State, as one of my my viewers told me last week. You know, I'm just some dumb YouTuber. But I think that part of any deal should include random inspections and disarmament of the Houthis, or no further funding for the Houthis and no further funding for Hezbollah, if we're going to set up a deal. Wouldn't that make sense? What do you think? Let's go over. I do want to talk about this deal a little bit more, so bear with me. I got to change my page here. And before I get into this, let me check your chat again. Let's scroll back up. Looks like I missed a lot of comments. All right. Scroll too far. Hey, you guys getting anything out of this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to check in the description down below for some discount codes that I think will be helpful for you for products that I personally have vetted. Operation Midnight Hammer shirts are already available. Okay, so that, going back to that book you guys were talking about, the book predicted that Russia was going to go to war. That I'm gonna probably do a video about like what I think World War III would look like. I do watch a lot of like war college videos, and so it's not coming from me, it's coming from experts that study this stuff all day long. So I'm just going to summarize what I've seen. The one-child rule would be abolished. That they will produce due to the collapse of Japan demographic. Okay. China wants Taiwan. We know that for sure. China wants Taiwan. And if they attack Taiwan, so that was one of the war college videos I was watching this morning. If they attack Taiwan, it's going to take probably 100,000 troops to be able to do that. It's going to be similar to storming the beaches of Normandy, and it's going to be a bad war. And the United States will get involved. Both Democrats and Republicans have administrations have said that we will aid Taiwan if they get attacked. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Yep. Ding, ding, ding. Right there. Sassy Gal Prepping's got it. Iran has a history of not upholding their end of the bargain. So why should we trust it this time? 30 billion. Yep. So Virginia Bushcraft, the United States media is not covering this story yet. I had to go and get it from sources overseas. That's a great question, Kane Corso. Whatever happened to taking care of your own first? You know how many homeless veterans we have? You know how many veterans we have that are taking their own lives every day? You know how underfunded mental health services are for veterans? Bacon, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Kentucky Survivalist, good to see you. Appreciate you. All right, let's roll on. We got a little bit more here to cover. Then we're going to start to tie a bow on all this stuff. All right. So reporting from credible news outlets indicates that President Trump's administration has indeed floated a proposal to offer up to between 20 and 30 billion in foreign-backed investments, not U.S. taxpayer money. That does matter to some people. to help develop a civilian non-enrichment nuclear energy program for Iran on the condition that Iran completely abandon uranium enrichment. The plan isn't for US. I'm sorry. I want to give you my sources because people are going to wonder that. All right, Daily Beast and 10 others. Let me see if I can blow that up. The plan isn't for U.S. taxpayer dollars. Instead, it's expected to be funded by Gulf allies. This is coming from DejaWorld.com. I believe that's a news site from India. Discussions reportedly took place at the White House meeting between Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Gulf partners around the time of recent U.S. strikes on. So they were already planning this as the strikes were happening. That's from India Today. The key non-negotiable U.S. demand: no uranium enrichment in Iran. The program must be entirely peaceful, civilian use akin to the United Arab Emirates model. This is from Iran Intel. Additional incentives mentioned include sanctions relief. And so we're basically going to lift the sanctions that we put on them. And unfreezing of $6 billion in Iranian assets. That's from India Today and 6 other sources. As of late June 2025, talks were described as preliminary and exploratory. No formal agreement has been made yet. Iran has not publicly agreed to such a deal yet. So what's being offered? Potential $20 to $30 billion investment in civilian nuclear infrastructure for Iran. By whom? Gulf allies. Under what conditions? Iran must give up uranium enrichment entirely. I want to know if you agree with me, either in chat or comments if you're watching this on replay. Should the conditions also include random inspections by UN? Shouldn't have to be the United States all the time. UN inspectors checking their uranium facilities, and no further aid to the Houthis or Hezbollah. Those would be my conditions. But as my audience told me last week, I'm not a Secretary of State. What business do I have having an opinion? It's called free speech. Discussions are ongoing. Iran has not accepted nor rejected the proposal. Okay, so more information as that becomes available. Oh, which Gulf allies are we talking about? Okay, multiple credible sources. Ynet News and Daily Beast confirmed that $20 to $30 billion of Gulf Arab capital, not U.S. funds, would finance Iran's new civilian non-enrichment nuclear infrastructure. I find it really interesting that they already had this plan written out as the strikes were happening. While specific countries haven't been named, the key likely contributors are Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. So why? What do these countries get out of it? And why would just give away $30 billion? We're going to get there. There was other proposals that included Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. They would get access to Iran's nuclear tech. That's part of what they would get out of this. Qatar, hang with me for a second. U.S. would not have any direct cost that would be coming out of taxpayer money. Well, so what does the U.S. get out of helping this? They get some leverage in the area for being able to broker the deal. Economic rewards: the United States could see Gulf sovereign wealth fund and reinvestment into American energy, infrastructure, defense, AI, and tech sectors, part of sweeping Gulf to U.S. investment trends. So trying to build these business deals. That's coming from Ian Trendy AZ. Sanctions relief: the United States might unlock Iran's frozen assets and relieve the sanctions. All right. How were the Gulf allies convinced? It's believed that they'll benefit by Iran not bringing more nuclear tension to the area. They get to have some clout basically in the area for being part of this deal. They want to have better business deals with the United States. So part of this would be like, hey, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, you guys have to pay for this, not us, but we're going to open some deals for you guys in the United States. That's how this three-way deal works. Balancing regional diplomacy. So in theory, this helps to kind of even things out for the area. Strategic leverage for those three countries. Advanced technological access to Iran's nuclear progress for those three countries. Economic returns, they would obviously, being able to build better business relationships with the United States would obviously financially benefit Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. And it reinforces their strategic partnership with the United States, who is still one of the biggest bosses on the block, if you want to say that. We know, even though the dollar can be shaky sometimes, it's still the reserve currency. The United States still has some of the most technologically advanced weaponry. So we're a good friend to have, and I think some countries see that. All right, that's all I know on that for now. More information as it becomes available. I will definitely be tracking this story, so we will probably be coming back to it at some point. Let's check your chat before I go to the next piece here. All right, scrolling. Yeah, man, I'm tired of it. You know what sucks is kids born. I shouldn't say kids. People born after 2001 have never known peace, right? So if those of us who are Gen X, we grew up in a world where, sure, there was the threat of Russia. There was always that Cold War threat, and there was skirmishes. But for the most part, we were lucky. We had a good childhood where it was we didn't have tons of Americans coming home with war trauma, with missing limbs, with body bags. Right, the last generation that had that was the Vietnam era generation, and we had it good, and I'm grateful for that. But it sucks for the millennials. It sucks for Gen Z. It sucks for Gen Alpha that this is all they've ever known, is this stupid forever war. It really sucks. I wish, if you're Gen Z or millennial or Gen Alpha, I wish you could have known how good we didn't have the technology that you guys have now, but in some ways it was a lot better not having it. And I wish you could have known what it was like to grow up like that, to basically not have your uncles coming back in body bags and stuff, right? It's just, I hate that for young people, that you've never known peace. You are owed that. You are owed that. We absolutely respect the vets. Love our vets. And if you don't, this isn't the right channel for you. Let me be real crystal clear about that. Like, anybody who wants to come on here and badmouth veterans, your comments are going to be hidden, and you're going to be blocked from being able to comment again in the future. This is not the right channel for you. So bye. Yep. Well, so Iran is not completely inept. They've knocked some of our planes down. They've knocked down some of our high-end stealth drones and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be the last time we have this problem, is it? Yeah. Well, and a lot of people, if they grew up, yes, that's true. But also, people growing up with the technology that exists today, they don't watch TV or cable news and things like that. They don't have to. They've figured out other ways to get their news. I think some people think they don't know what's going on, but if you go on like Reddit forums like Gen Z and things like that, they are well aware of what's the subreddit Gen Z. They are well aware of what's going on around the world. There's a lot of good discussions that go on in there. I don't necessarily agree with everything they say, but they definitely are well informed. last draft graduating class. Yeah, and I hope we never. And thank you, Cold War Prepper, and thank you for your service. And everybody else, I know there's several people in chat here tonight who are also service members. Thank you for what you've done for this country. I don't ever want to see us have a draft again. They sure were, Kentucky. We had a good childhood, man. They Burpee Yoga Uncle, my experience is Gen Z is well informed. They just are not going to the same sources that you and I are. They just they're accessing it in different ways. And I'll be honest with you, like I've started accessing the news in different ways too. What a lot of times I get my news off of Bing in the morning. And the cool thing about Bing, it's a Microsoft app. The cool thing about Bing is you can train it to look for stories that you want. So I've basically trained my app to feed me stories every morning that's related to preparedness. That is going to include war. It is going to include things about the financial markets. It is going to include things about storm cells, climate, things like that. So Bing is really cool. You get to like basically say, no, I'm not interested in this story. I only want this. And it takes a few days to kind of train it. You have to keep like searching for the terms that you want, and then it's got it, and it'll just give you what you want. So, but there's probably other apps and different ways to access it. I know a lot of young people are getting it from TikTok. Just make sure it's a credible source. Not everything on TikTok or YouTube, for that matter, is a credible source. So just be aware of that. I'm not huge on TV either myself. I usually will watch 1 or 2 shows at a time. I'm looking forward to Squid Game. Part 3 is coming out tonight, I think, today. So very, very violent series, but also very, very interesting. Yep. Laura, thank you for saying that. You're right. You're right. All right, let me go ahead and start to wind this one down, folks. I want to close with a couple things. Once again, I want to say next Friday, will not be live. I will release something for you. I'm not sure which video I'm releasing yet. We are approaching 7,000 subscribers. So I will be, of course, doing a giveaway. Make sure you are subscribed right now while you're here. Check that bell notification. Make sure it's turned to all, on and all, so that you don't miss when I do that subscriber giveaway. And it will be, I think for this time, I'm going to do the Amazon cards again, because I have a lot of viewers who watch from outside of the United States, and some of the stuff that when I've done product giveaways, that sometimes I can't ship out of the country. So I've had to make some of the giveaways in the past only for people who have a way to receive mail in the United States. So this one's probably going to be Amazon cards again. When I get to 10,000, that will be a bigger giveaway, and that will probably include some products from some of the brands that I work with, and some of that may be for United States mailboxes only, but I will try to take into account that not everybody's eligible for that. So maybe we can do some gift cards and stuff for that one as well. But anyways, we're focused on that 7,000. It's coming up real soon, so make sure you're subscribed with the bell notification on. Folks, doing the amount of research that it takes for us YouTubers to bring you a live stream like this and keep it accurate involves hours of work. That's not just for me, that's for all the other YouTubers that are here tonight, like Cold War Prepper and Bacon, and who else we got? Sassy Gal Prepping, and Orlando Prepper. When the amount of research that we have to do to get this information takes hours each week. You can help us out by doing a couple things. If you get ads and it's like less than 30 seconds, please sit through an ad or two once in a while. It does help us out. You can also check in the description down below for some discount codes for products that I think you'll like. When you buy something from the brands that help support me, a lot of times I get a little commission from that. It helps to sustain this channel. And sometimes it's hard, right? Like, the YouTube doesn't pay us a lot of money in ad revenue. I think a lot of people think that, but we really don't. Most of my money that I get that helps me to put out the content that I put out for you comes from the brands that I work with. All right. And last thing, I always try to end with a quote. So I've got a quote for you. Let me just check your chat one more time, make sure I didn't miss anything real here. Yeah, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody in the audience. I really appreciate you for hanging out. Aloha. I appreciate that. Thank you. Is this a pocket print matching? Is the pocket print matching the Aloha shirt? I don't know. Oh, is it the same? Yes. See, it's the same. It's not one of those ones that has contrast. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot at Virginia Bushcrafter too, and Virginia Bushcrafter, by the way, you guys, if you haven't seen his channel, he goes out into the woods and shows you how to make shelters and stuff like that. There's a lot of time that goes into practicing that, so that's another good example too. Thank you for showing that. Research is brutal. Yeah, it takes a lot of our time to do this and to get it right. Because guess what? If I make a mistake, I guarantee you somebody's going to let me have it in the comments. And so we try really hard to get it right. Do I always get it right? No, but we try really hard to get it right. All right, let me end with, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That's exactly it. Like if you didn't have sources of income, you wouldn't have a lot of people doing this. Some people do it just for fun and they do it for free. But you would have a much smaller YouTube if we didn't have ways to make money with it. You're welcome. All right, let me end with a positive quote tonight. And I want to say once again, thank you for joining me tonight. Hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have a weekend with your family. Have lots of fun. Your quote for tonight is: "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Nelson Mandela. Folks, have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy yourselves. Do something fun for yourselves as well. Hug your families. I will see you in 2 weeks for the next live stream. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.